Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're watching and reading along with me, let me know what you've been reading. And I have so many books to share with you for October because I read 17 books. 2 were audiobooks, so I'm not going to share those 2 with you, but if you want to go onto my Goodreads, you can see my full list of what I read. I'm Valerie Brett on everything: YouTube, Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter, probably Audible, which is where I got the books on tape. But anyways, I still read 15, I think, books that I have here with you, and I have to leave my apartment in about 6 minutes, so I'm going to keep it so short and sweet, or try to at least. So I guess I really hit my reading groove for the year. I read books for school, so I'll start with those. Museum, Cities, and Soft Power was one for my museums theory class. I hated the layout of the book. Like, I hate when people use special fonts and stuff like that. There were some good, interesting ideas, but overall I was just kind of like, about this book. So, I don't know. If you're literally working in a museum, maybe it'd be interesting for you, but I don't know. It was fine. Okay, so a book that's way better for my feminist theory class, Anthropocene Feminism. This is about the Anthropocene, which is like when humans started becoming a real impact on the geologic time, like on the Earth, climate change, global warming, that kind of stuff. So if you like that, this is super interesting. It was really hard to get through, really dense like theory, but also was just like blowing my mind all the time. Like, I never realized how feminism could be so connected to climate change, and this was really, really, really cool if you're interested in both those things. Kind of theoretical. I finally finished reading the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. I started reading this like when I did my yoga teacher training 3 years ago maybe, and I just finally finished reading it, and I really like it. It has so many good little nuggets, and I'll definitely go back and like kind of read it out of order again, but they also had a lot of like weird things that I just thought were stupid, like you should be celibate because semen like gives you vitality to like keep it in. I don't know, that's dumb. So there was some like funny, stupid stuff in here too, but a lot of good nuggets of wisdom overall. Definitely liked it overall. So I had to give myself a little break after all those theory books. So I read a couple kids and young adult books. This isn't really a kid's book, it's just a picture book, but I just like had it down on my list to remember that I looked at it this year. I just love Yuko Higuchi's art. I talked about her before, and so she just had this new little book of her art that came out, so I just flipped through it and I just put it on my list, but that's a real cheat, obviously. And then I read this kind of kids book. This could really be an all ages book because it's sort of like a cultural, not origin story, but like a myth kind of thing. You can see it's kind of like written in a way that's maybe for like elementary school or middle school, but definitely applies to any age if you want to read it. It's about 2 old women who are abandoned by their tribe and how they fight for survival and ultimately triumph. So it was a nice, like, cute book. And then I read The Book of Dust, the new Philip Pullman. I love his Dark Materials trilogy, some of my favorite books of all time. So this was a book kind of like an origin story again. It's when Lyra was a baby and how she ended up growing up at the college. So I really liked it. I had a couple like really, really minor things where I was like, I wish an editor just went through and either was more honest with him or just like tightened it up just a little bit. But overall, I really loved it, and I'm honestly sad that I'm done reading it because I want to just be reading it again. So then my book club book, I read 2 books for my book club. So the first one was Kindred, and I don't have it to show you because I rented it from the library, but it was so amazing. I just sat down to read it, like to read the introduction at like 10 p.m. one night, and then I just never stopped reading, and at like 2:30 a.m. I finished the book. So I just read it all in one gulp. It was so good. Loved it. Loved it. Have to read more Octavia Butler. And then the other book for our book club, Books by Women, I'll put the link below to our website of the book club so you can follow along if you want. But we read Jane Austen at Home, a biography by Lucy Worsley. And I don't like Jane Austen. I've never read more than Pride and Prejudice, never was into her. So I wasn't really excited to read this book, and it's pretty long and it's a biography. But to be honest, this was a really cool book because it's a lot about like how Jane was like almost a feminist considering her time. And it just like actually was interesting, and the writer loves Jane Austen so much that she kind of convinces you that you like her too. And speaking of old books by feminists, Lolly Willows by Sylvia Townsend Warner was my Halloween book this year. I pick a Halloween book to read every year, and this book was so amazing. I read it last night, and I just loved it so much. It's about this woman who's like an auntie who's kind of taken advantage of by her family, and she escapes to the countryside and becomes a witch. It's just amazing. I love it. And the way that she describes what it feels like to be imprisoned by people who even if they love you and even if you love them, it was just so perfect and poignant. I love this book. Definitely holding on to that. Another book I loved, going back to the YA, was Starfish. I love the cover art too. Really beautiful. And this book was about growing up with a narcissist mother. Let Okay, I gotta get going. I gotta go faster. I'm sorry I'm talking so fast. But anyways, beautiful YA book. Really loved it. Not sure if I loved it as much as like The Hate You Give or Dumplin', but it's definitely high up there. Like maybe with my top 5 YA books that I love. About a girl just like coming into her own and like around the time when she's leaving for college. And then nonfiction, Rising Strong by Brene Brown. I've heard so much about her. I finally read a book by her. Definitely going to read her other ones. I kind of read them out of order. You don't have to read them in order, but this one's definitely supposed to come like towards the end. So I'm going to go back and read her first ones. But this, she has some strategies to how to like live a better life and communicate with people and stop just like making up stories in your head that are ruining your life. And I've already used some of them and they do work. So good book. Another yoga book, The Yamas and Niyamas. This is for my yoga book club that I started. Lots of book clubs, lots of reading. I like this book. Again, I really didn't like the layout. I hate when people use like weird fonts and like weird designs and stuff. It just, for me, is really distracting. I just like it to be simple. But she had a lot of interesting, good things to say. And she pulled on a lot of like random stories from her life and from like various traditions and stories, which like, I don't know if it worked that well, but overall, she still had a lot of good points to make. And then 2 more school books, 2 more theory books. Oh my goodness, so many. The Problem with Work. I didn't think I'd like this book because the subtitle is Feminism, Marxism, Anti-Work Politics, and Post-Work Imaginaries. And I was just like, I don't even know what this means, but love this book. This gave me ammunition for what I've always thought, which is that like we are slaves to capitalism and we shouldn't have to work 40 hours a week. And like life is just as important, if not more important than work. So this gave me a lot of good ammunition for that argument that I like to have with people and myself and society. And then 1 more museum theory book, the book Birth of the Museum. Actually, I might have already talked about this. I don't remember when I finished it. Anyways, this book is like kind of boring, but has a lot of good information and really interesting history about the parallel birth of the museum, along with fairs and carnivals and like other similar large like gathering type spaces and events. So definitely don't read this if you're not super into like museums and theory. But if you are into it, worthwhile. So, like I said, there's a couple books that maybe didn't make it onto this, but I gotta go. Trying to keep it to 7 minutes. I'm just gonna say goodbye, and I will see you in November, in December, about what I'm reading in November. And happy reading. Let me know what you're reading. Give me suggestions. Give me feedback, and see you later. Bye.